Okay, so here we go. I'm starting from Dunedin, as usual. We should hit some nature in like a minute and a half. Also, as you have undoubtedly noticed by now, instead of doing, VR this time, I'm experimenting with just leaving my video as Equirectangular 360. Like, this is the same type of projection that's used on maps to sort of map a spherical Earth onto a flat surface. So yeah, this way you can see everything around me at once. So on this walk, I'm heading to the top of a mountain just behind the city called Flagstaff through the pineapple track, which, like right now, I'm heading towards Woodhaugh, and then from Woodhaugh up Ross Creek, then up Cragieburn, then to the pineapple track, then up to the mountain. So this was like filmed, I think, a week or two ago. New Zealand, the country I'm studying in right now, is under full lockdown, and I haven't been able to go outside much. So only for short walks around my neighborhood. That's the only thing that's allowed here. So fortunately, sorry, I have shot a bunch of videos, like two or three videos in advance. Unfortunately, the university is closed and I don't have access to their resources, specifically their computers. So I'm editing this on my laptop and it's very underpowered. So there won't be any fancy title cards and stuff. Yeah, right now I'm on the Leith track. The Leith is a river that flows through the city, and this is just a small track. Like, this is Woodhaugh right now, and through the gardens, and this track just goes behind Woodhaugh, like through Woodhaugh, behind most of the urban areas, and yeah, it's a very short walk. I get so jumbled sometimes when I talk. Oh, this little concrete shed here used to be used for storing explosives and gunpowder. There used to be a quarry here in the olden days. There's a plaque along this track that sort of points that out. And I believe this is Ross Creek specifically. This whole this track in particular leads up to a local reservoir that supplies some of the water. I think it was one of the first reservoirs built. It has been renovated recently, as you can see. And this is the Ross Creek Reservoir. You're not allowed to swim in it because there might be some sort of toxic algae blooms and stuff inside it. Some people still do anyway. I think I saw a couple of teenagers jump off the bridge there into the water, like three of them. God damn, I sound so old when I say the word teenagers. So yeah, right now I'm following a track around the reservoir to Cragieburn, which is just above the. You'll see. Also, please excuse the overexposure in some parts of the video. This is a 360 camera I'm using, so while part of the camera is in shade, it lowers the exposure and some parts just get washed out. Like, it happens every single time one of the lenses is in shade. And I tried cutting out most of the clips where it was just too bright, but I tried adjusting the brightness and gamma a bit, but sometimes it just does look a bit washed out in places. And this is Cragieburn. It, goddamn, I'm really scratching my head to sort of describe this. It used to be, there's this, yeah, this part right here is the Briar. It used to be part of an old cattle farm. The farmers donated the land to the department for conservation purposes. You know, just to have a nice little park and stuff. And the foundations of their like milking station and house has been preserved. There's also a nice little stone wall in the corner over there. See, as you can see there, it's covered in shadows, but that seems to be a feature. And this is called Tanner's View, right behind Cragieburn. Okay, so now I'm heading down past Cragieburn. Just behind it is the pineapple track. Yep, and it starts here. It took me ages before I even knew that this track existed. I mean, I think I was in my second year. Yeah, I think like towards the end of the first semester of my second year, so or maybe the end of the first semester, but yeah, it was almost like a year and a half before I even knew this track existed or where it led up to. Yeah, I think it was the second semester. I mean, I've been up Mount Cargill 3 or 4 times before I knew that this even existed. There's a small little water reservoir here, and there was behind me in the previous shot there was a nice little drinking fountain that you can use. Here it is. It's a water treatment plant, I think, not a reservoir. And just past, yeah, I was listening to a funny podcast at this point. Just yeah, there's a separate track that leads to like a little creek and stuff. But yeah, this bush is just behind the water reservoir. It goes all the way up. This track is actually, I think Flagstaff is one of the taller mountains around the Dunedin area. It's actually a very pleasant walk. I think the walks up to Mount Cargill, even though Mount Cargill is like a couple hundred meters lower than Flagstaff, the walk up to Mount Cargill was a lot harder. I mean, the tracks leading up to there just keep going and going and going and going and going. It just never ends. Yeah, if the trees and bushes have a lot of detail on them, so if they look kind of blurry to you in the video, I suggest bumping the video quality up a bit. Yep, and now in these open plains, you can, if you were there in person, you could very easily see the city and the bay and all sorts of areas from here. And the surrounding landscape. It was good. We shall hit more open fields. Like as we approach the top of the mountain, it's just gonna be like one giant empty field, and it'll look really nice. Trust me. And I'll stop and let you have a nice little look around every once in a while. So yeah, hang tight. And there we go. Now starts all the pretty. Yeah, it was a very beautiful sunny day during, well, it didn't stay, it became a bit cloudy towards the afternoon, but then it sort of cleared up as I was heading back. So, yeah, right now it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful for the next, I think, hour and two. Then it's going to get a bit cloudy, and then it's going to clear up. But yeah, it's actually not as pleasant as it looks pretty, but I mean, walking up under direct sunlight, it's not, it looks nice, but it's not the funnest thing to do. Some days though, you get a really nice cloud cover where you have a really pretty sky, and the sun is slightly covered up every once in a while, and it makes it really nice and pleasant to walk through. You get a nice bit of sunshine, but not so much that it starts to burn you. I think the episode after the next episode, where sort of went towards Tunnel Beach. I'm not going to spoil too much, but I sort of walked around the Blackhead area. That was really nice. So that might be coming out in like 3 weeks or so. A nice wind picked up at this point, though it was windy. Fortunately, I had some foam over the microphone. I glued on some foam onto my microphone, so instead of maxing it out, all you just hear is this nice little soft rumble. Which is close to what I hear because, I'm wearing headphones and listening to music. Still nice to have the wind blow through your hair. It's one of the things I look forward to when I'm out here. Oh, and I bumped the ground again with my camera. My camera is attached to a long stick, so it doubles as a hiking stick. The other stick I'm holding in my hand that you can sort of see in the camera, that sort of doubles up as a tripod if I need it. So I can untie the sticks and then tie them together to form like 3 legs. So never had to use it, so thinking of ditching that soon. Though. So yeah, it's a bit sunny now, a bit cloudy. It's makes things interesting. Not sure whether you can see it, but the clouds are sort of rolling in from the distance in front of me. The wind, by the way, the wind right now is blowing towards the camera, so if you can just imagine some of that wind hitting your hair directly head on, you might get closer to what it feels. That's the city down there, by the way. Directly in front of you. You might not be able to see it unless you really bump the resolution up to like 720 or something. So yeah, I believe that mountain directly in front of you is Flagstaff itself. It's a nice gentle walk up to the peak. I'm not sure whether this whole place is a Gen Reserve. I think the Flagstaff Reserve specifically starts a bit. Yep, yeah, it starts here. It starts here. That sign there marks the beginning-ish portion of the Flagstaff Reserve. and the clouds have thoroughly taken over this point. It should clear up in a couple of hours. Well, a couple of hours for me on that day. For you, you'll see nice sunshine again in a few minutes. Lucky you. Is this the peak? I think it's yeah, that little. Yep, this is the peak. Behind me is the Taieri Plains or something like that, and sort of inland New Zealand in Southland. You might not be able to see it properly unless you're in like high resolution. That small green stick there is a little, I think, some sort of land surveying mark. Yeah, stood here for like a good half an hour trying to find a nice shot with a bit of sunshine over the mountains in the distance. It didn't really come out well in the footage though. So yeah, the wind was really picking up at this point. I had to put my jacket on, as if you like my duck down jacket on, as you've probably noticed. It's getting kind of chilly, but it wasn't like freezing cold. So yeah, right now I'm heading down the opposite side of the mountain from where I'd come up from. This is heading down to a little forest, I think, called conveniently named Flagstaff Forest. I mean, gotta appreciate the consistency there. I mean, but yeah, it was kind of a gentle walk down. Like on the way up to the mountain, I was kind of wishing that it wasn't so sunny and hot, and now I'm starting to regret it a bit. I mean, it's a bit too cold and a bit too cloudy at this point, as you can see with your eyes. When this lockdown, we shall go to the plains on the other side of these mountains one of these days. Once the lockdown, the whole this virus lockdown thing is over. I'm not really fond of going inland. I am more of a water, river, ocean, beach type of guy, but could be fun. There's this really long river called the Taieri, something like that. The Taieri River that sort of flows inland, and there's a couple of tracks going up and down it. Should be fun. So yeah, this is the Flagstaff Forest towards the sides, and there's just a small dirt road that leads down to one of the main roads going towards the plain. I believe this was on a weekend or so there were a whole bunch of people going towards those tracks. Like, it's not a singular track up to Flagstaff. There's a couple that go to all the little mountain summits around the Dunedin area. There's a couple that goes to a couple of ridges. There's a lot of the mountains there are just huge reserves. So kind of a popular place during the weekend. for those who can actually, endure the walk. That, like, I think it's the mountain peak is like 2,000 or so, either feet or meters. I think feet above Dunedin. So yeah. Hold on, let me look it up. I got my phone here. Hold on. Oh, okay. So the mountain we were on, Flagstaff, is 666 meters above Dunedin. I mean, above sea level, sorry. And it forms part of the rim of the Dunedin volcano, which is a long extinct volcano. And the crater of the volcano is actually the Harbour. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, this is a road called 3 Mile Road, and it heads to Mosgiel, which is sort of a moderately sized town, like a small town by, like, I guess international standards, but quite big for Dunedin. For Yeah, it's like a town that's on the plains behind Dunedin. Yep, and the sun has just come out. The sun is now out, and everything should look nice and sunny from now on. Also, been reading on this right now. Apparently, the pineapple track is called the pineapple track because there was a local grocer here, like back in the 1920s. There was a local grocer that led tours, and he sort of acted as a guide to the top of the mountain whenever people used to visit, you know, the city. And he used to hand out tins of pineapple as a refreshment when people reached the top. And the empty cans were dumped on the peak and were left along the track as sort of marker posts, unofficial markers along the track telling you which way to go. Oh, in the light, it gets cloudy. It's gonna get sunny again, don't worry, it'll be sunny in a few minutes. See? What did I tell you? But yeah, this is what I consider a nice cloud cover. The sky looks very interesting. The sun peeks out a little bit, makes everything look nice, but then it hides again so it doesn't get too hot. Unfortunately, this happened whilst I was walking downhill from the mountain, not while I was walking up the mountain. I would have really appreciated it while I was heading up, because that's when you start overheating a bit. So yeah. Right now I'm walking through the suburbs around the perimeter of the city, and I'm heading to this place called Kaikorai Valley. And then from Kaikorai Valley, I'm walking into the city and then back home. Quite like these suburbs. I mean, whenever I go on long walks along Brighton or up the Pineapple Track, or whenever I go on walks along the plains, I always reach this place in the afternoon, and it always looks pretty in the afternoon. I don't know why. It just does. Yeah, so that little hill ahead, that sort of behind that hill is the actual city, and the bottom of this is Kaikorai. We should be in Kaikorai. Okay, I just passed Kaikorai. I think the footage, I stopped at the local KFC there and ate a bit, so it became a bit darker. So, also I don't think I took much footage. Like, the footage I took in the valley itself was kind of unusable, unfortunately. So yeah, once I clear this hill, we should be in Dunedin proper. I really miss going outside. I mean, really, this lockdown really sucks. I've got more time to do schoolwork, and I have assignments and stuff to catch up on though, so I'm gonna work on, like, I've got like this, I'm doing computer graphics, like, not graphic design, but like learning how computers process 3D models and stuff, and how to develop algorithms for that to, handle image processing and stuff too. And I have an assignment due like tomorrow at 4, and like I finished it, I just have to do a write-up about it, which I'm gonna do once I've finished editing this. We basically had to make a 3D model of a pen in Blender just to sort of learn how 3D modeling works. That was sort of the assignment. So this is the little hospital in Dunedin, and we should go straight to my place. And hold on. Yep, that's this. Goodbye.